Good morning from Rotterdam, or as they say over here, goedemorgen vanuit Rotterdam. It's time for another daily coffee. Each morning I will talk with Stefan Gorkum and Erik Bolks mostly about the day that we have seen yesterday, but we'll also look ahead a bit to the day about to come. We saw the second half of the second semi-final, at least the participants of that second semi-final, from Georgia up to Denmark. We will walk past every country, I would say, Steve. But what stood out for you yesterday? What comes to mind at first?
Bulgaria was the one that stood out for me most. I mean, we knew that it was going to be a day with two contenders for victory, according to the bookmakers, Bulgaria and Switzerland. And I think Bulgaria was the most impressive one for me.
And for you? Same thing?
I would say Bulgaria as well, but for a nice surprise was Albania. The performance was really solid, and it's a very good power ballad, and she performs very well. So that was a good, happy surprise.
Both of you don't mention Switzerland, but we will get there when we continue this podcast first. Let's go back to the start of the day with the Georgian song. Not many high expectations for Tonike. What are your thoughts about it? Could it surprise? Does it have not any chance in this contest? Erik, what do you think?
Well, I shouldn't have high hopes for Georgia. It is nice, after all those three up-tempo songs, to have a slow song, like calm, but that's it. Not really much happening on stage.
He was goofing around a bit during his last run-through in the rehearsals.
Yeah, it always was like he was giving us a laugh, but deliberately in the press center, going a little bit crazy with his notes. Obviously, after having shown in the first and second run-through that he is very much capable of singing this song. Then again, I think what Erik is saying, I mean, he comes after a couple of up-tempo songs, but after him come a couple of ballads. And I think it has a big possibility of being buried in there, Georgia, I think.
Yeah, especially with Albania following it up. And Erik already mentioned it as one of the most impressive rehearsals of yesterday. Do you agree with him?
I agree that it's one of the countries that made the biggest strides. So if you look at the expectation pattern before the rehearsal and then the result, then Albania was the one that made the best progress. She was very good vocally, also looked confident on stage. I liked the smoke projections on the LED screens. And I mean, if all of that is in place, then all of a sudden you start to see that this is the only ethnic ballad in there, and it's actually quite unique.
How far can it reach? It's only been one rehearsal, I know, but still, it's nice to talk about that.
You want to hear qualification or not? Then I think yes, it will qualify, and then it will somewhere in the middle in the final somewhere.
Steve still grabbed a cup of coffee, already set and go. Yes.
Yes, there we go.
After Albania, we had, it's still early, Portugal. Does it, perhaps this says something? It could say something about me, but it could say something about the impact or the lack of impact that Portugal is making.
I think Portugal is. I saw a lot of positive comments within the community, but I think if you look at a TV audience, a wider audience, then they are not going to have any chance to connect with this song. I think that's the thing that they are going to struggle with most. Because, yes, I mean it is classy. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not. He wasn't off key or anything, and they staged it in a, I would say, decent way, but. Every time the camera comes close to the singer, he almost shies away from it, and it makes it very hard for people at home to connect with a song in which that is very much necessary in order for you not to find it boring.
I already wrote our live blog of yesterday on ecdaily.com, of course I did, and yeah, I know you agree with what Steve just said.
Yes, I do, and I think there's a mismatch here in what they want to show us and what they do show, because this is a music first entry, and then they come up with some weird graphics of a puppet walking on it. It doesn't fit the song, so I think it will downgrade the song as well. So those who like the song might get off their lose their religion on this one.
I still don't think the running order is doing them any favor as well, with Bulgaria in a similar range when it comes to a slow song, and Bulgaria made a huge impact.
Yes, Victoria made a real good impact. Is really introvert and really beautifully staged. She's solely on stage, but she takes it. And she's singing very well. I liked it very much. It's the best one I've seen so far.
You also have it as a contender for victory, right?
Yes, I do. And actually, if I look at the ones that I've seen up until now, I think this impacted me even more than Malta at this point. I think, speaking about making an emotional connection that we were just talking about with Portugal, she really does that. They've staged it beautifully. The rock, the sand at the beginning, making for a few artistic shots, and then of course the way she connects first with the camera, then with the picture of her dad. I think this is telling multiple stories, actually. It's not just a family drama, it's also a corona drama, a trouble getting up in the morning because every day starts to look the same, which is, I think, a feeling that a lot of us can relate to. And she sells it well, so I don't see any reason why this couldn't win Eurovision.
After we have seen Bulgaria, it's time for Finland, something completely different in this diverse semi-final. The only rock song in this semi-final field, and it's being performed in a very professional way. It's looking good for them.
Yes, there's only one thing I'm missing, and that's the middle finger. I want it to be shown fully in screen, but they are afraid to do so. But
I don't think it's allowed to show your middle finger during a Eurovision performance.
It's allowed to show your face. Why not your members, your limbs? You should be allowed to show everything, I think. If it's in the lyrics, it should be there. Just put your middle finger up. They are rough. They are rocking it. I don't think people will mind. It fits the song if you do so. So why not?
Your thoughts about Finland?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, I mean, in previous years we've had with ABS or with other Finnish entries like Soft Engine, there was at least some kind of vibe within the community going like, oh, is this going to qualify? Is this going to be too rough for Eurovision, which is something that I never believed in. But this year it's not even there, I think, that kind of argument, because it's just so obvious that this is going to make it to the final. And I like it because it brings some diversity to the field, and let's celebrate diversity.
Taking us to the last couple of countries in the semi-final. I think Latvia is up after the Finnish entry, with Samantha finally making it to the Eurovision stage. Her dream for many years, but finally she is there. But her rehearsal didn't have a lot of enthusiastic reactions. Can you understand that?
But me neither. It's if you work so long to work to the stage, then you want to go to the final, and then you don't make an act like this. It doesn't fit. Standing there in a gala dress, singing this heavy wall of sound song, then these ugly colors. No, the vocals are very good, no doubt about it. But visually, it's just like a mess.
I have the feeling that we see the three backing singers on stage in Latvia, and they are dressed just the way they were in Still Breathing, the potential song for Eurovision last year. And it looks like they just copied some aspects, at least, from what they were supposed to do last year, and then kept it for this song. But it's a completely different song. It's a bit of a mismatch to me.
I totally agree. And the weird thing about that is they already came up with a completely new concept for the video clip. Where they went into this industrial vibe, you know, and I think that would have fit the song much better. And if you've already gone through the trouble of creating that concept, why not going with that on stage here?
Any explanations for why they would do it like this?
I have no idea, but I do know that Latvia is one of the countries that over the years have struggled more often with with coming up with a good preparation, a good concept. They've had some results, of course, in
15 and 16.
Yeah, I think that's the small period of time when at least there was some quality to their entries, but they've struggled more often than not, and this year will be no exception.
Switzerland is a nation that also has often struggled at Eurovision in recent years. Well, not this year. They will definitely make it to the final, maybe even more than that. But as we started this podcast, neither one of you, Steve, not you, Eric, not you, mentioned Switzerland as one of the highlights in your first answer. Why?
No, I didn't mention it, although before the contest it was in my top 2-3 of winning. But now we see Sean on stage, and doing a choreography he is uncomfortable with. I think this song needs a beautiful staging, and now it's like with stroboskops, like lightnings, and he's doing choreography which is weird. It's modern dance. It doesn't fit the song, in my opinion.
I think they really try to stay away from putting him in the visual presentation, making it look like the last winner, like Duncan, and I think they try to stay away from that.
Yes, but that also takes him away from the place where he's most comfortable, which is behind the piano. And where he is right now, he doesn't look comfortable. Then again, I should say that his vocals were amazing yesterday, and I've seen him perform live more often, and he's always been very good vocally, and that still is going to stand out, especially in a difficult song like this, and especially with juries. So this is still, of course, one of the entries that is going to do very well at the contest. But is it a winner? I have more doubts after the rehearsal than I had before.
So, but what if, let's look at what could happen in the final if Bulgaria is in the first half. Switzerland is one of the few ballads, probably not a lot of ballads will make it to the final, I guess. And if they are the only ballad in the second half, are you ruling it out or not?
I'm not ruling it out at this point, but I think they will struggle with televotes, especially because of the fact that he looks uncomfortable, and we've talked a lot about connecting with your audience. I see him struggle at the televote at this point, but of course a good running order might help in that regard.
Eric, ruling it out or not?
Not yet ruling it out, but you talk about ballads and they present it as a dance track, so that's what's not gonna happen and not gonna make it in their beneficial. What did you say that? It's not good for them.
The last song of the semi-final is the Danish song. It pretty much is what it is. What we've seen in the Danish final, they kept the staging. Well, it's an exact copy of it. But Steve, you had a very nice experience yesterday. Something you wanted to do for a long time at Eurovision, going backstage and checking out what happens during the run-throughs of the rehearsals that we see. You did that during the Danish rehearsal. How was it?
It was really interesting. I got to see all the talks that were going on between delegation and crew, all the rules that they have to explain to them. The Danish delegation was very demanding, had a lot of ideas, a lot of things they wanted to change. Not everything was possible, and they explained it to them and saying, okay, well, we just simply don't have a camera for a shot like that, or we can't do it because of other technical issues. Some things they were able to change. And then there was this really interesting moment where the Danish lead singer who was going to walk onto the catwalk later on the performance, saw that the catwalk was actually loose from the stage and thought that that was a technical issue, so he stopped the rehearsal. And then the crew had to explain to him that the catwalk is always loose from the stage because there's a camera moving in between, and it only connects to the stage when you are actually going to walk on it. So all stuff like that, and all those discussions between delegation and crew, it was one of the most interesting things that I've seen in 10 years of Eurovision.
Of course, you and we will make an item about it. There will be an article about this story, about how it works in between the run-throughs of the rehearsals. Very interesting. Stay tuned to ESC Daily to see that. Eric, your thoughts about Denmark?
Yeah, it's 80s song. It's almost like a cartoon.
Sounds super enthusiastic.
Well, I'm not. If the Danish broadcast is demanding, I would demand a different singer.
So you don't see it as a qualifier as well, or?
They put it in this order just to have a happy clap song in the end. Because of that, it will qualify maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if it won't qualify.
Okay, that's it for the second semi-final. We have seen all the semi-final countries, but the ones in the first semi-final will return to Rotterdam Ahoy for their second round of rehearsals today. And of course, you can follow that all on ESC Daily as well on our live blog. Which nations do we hope to see they have improved from their first run-through most today?
Well, first of all, we want to see Lithuania, because we didn't see it in the first round. And then I really hope that Macedonia will improve and leave out this disco ball shirt, or they film it in a different way, because that was really awkward.
We'll see how that's going to happen. You can follow it all on escdaily.com. We're back tomorrow morning with a fresh new daily coffee. Enjoy your day.